Hi guys, I am so excited to make this video today actually just to talk about my health journey and some things that I have been through in the past few years. I got mold toxicity when I was living in Bali starting in 2020, and I didn't realize that that would kind of spiral and cause so many other health conditions. So I went to Bali in 2020 during COVID, and my best friend and I lived in this guest house, and my room had mold in it, which I didn't realize in the beginning. I remember my room felt like really humid, and then my friend's room didn't feel like that, like it felt drier. And I remember from like the first night I was like, whoa, my pillow smells like really weird, like it just had this like weird musky smell to it. And I kept thinking like, oh, is it like the pillowcase or something? And I told the staff working, like the cleaning staff, if they could change my pillow and everything, and they were like, yeah, sure, no problem. But my pillow always had this weird smell, and I noticed within a week of living in that place my sleep got really bad. Like before that I never had any type of sleep issues, and then after a week I was like, whoa, I'm just like not sleeping through the night. I'm like waking up throughout the night, and then in the morning just feeling so tired. Like it felt so difficult to get up in the morning, which I didn't really have that problem before. And then I noticed that my skin started getting bad. Like my skin started to get a lot of bumps, and I started to have a lot of breakouts, and I was like, okay, I don't know, is it like the water here? Is it like the zinc from surfing? Like I just had no idea, but I started to have these changes and I wasn't feeling as good, and I was starting to feel as tired. So then after a month of living in this place, like I remember one day I was like, I want to like check my pillow, like I don't know. And so I looked inside the pillow, like I took off the pillowcase, and oh my gosh, the pillow was covered in mold, in black mold. And I was like, holy crap, this is not normal. Like I don't, like at that point I didn't know the effects of black mold, but I was like, this is not normal and I need to get out of here. Like I just, like, you know, when like one day you just like snap and you're like, I need to get out. So then I like told the staff, and they were like, oh yeah, like it's just like the inside though, like it's fine. And I was like, you're not getting it. I'm not sure about other places in Indonesia, but I know in Bali mold is a really common issue in villas and guest houses and homes there, and it's really normalized. And I think at the time I didn't realize how bad mold was, but I feel like it was just so normalized by everyone there, like all the local people there, that I was like, okay, I don't know, like maybe it's not that big of a deal. But I just knew that I had to move out of there. After living in the place with mold, like my sleep got really bad. Like I just could not fully sleep through the night. So then I was feeling really tired, and like me and my friends were surfing a lot. I was just feeling so tired after surfing. Like I would notice with myself that I would feel really tired and not recover at the same rate as my friends, even though we're eating the same amount, like we're living the same lifestyle. And then like my skin was just getting really bad. Like I was just like, I don't, like my skin has never been like this before. I was starting to get like hormonal acne, like acne on my chin area, and then I was also getting breakouts on my cheek, which I had just never had in my life before. Everything just felt so confusing, and I feel like I had a lot of brain fog during that time. I don't know, it was so hard to focus, it was so hard to get anything done. Like I just felt, I guess, so tired all the time. I think because I just wasn't sleeping well, it was starting to really take a hold of my health. So aside from all the health concerns that I was getting from mold, I actually started to develop narcolepsy in 2019, like very mild narcolepsy. I actually have not been diagnosed with this, but my mom has something similar. I noticed when I was a kid, like my whole life, like my mom would fall asleep pretty often. She's sitting on the couch, if she's like reading a book, like sometimes like in the evening, like she would just fall asleep like really quickly if she's sitting down. And I kind of just like didn't know that was not normal. And then it started happening to me. It started happening late 2019, where I just noticed, yeah, like at times when I was sitting or like trying to watch a movie, like I just would fall asleep but not even realize. It was in a way where I felt like I couldn't control it, because I think that's the difference, like when I try to explain it to people, because they're like, oh, like you just have to try to stay awake. And I'm like, when you have narcolepsy, like you like actually like cannot stay awake. That's like the difference. It's not like, ooh, like woo, like I'm gonna like wake myself up. It's like a brain thing. Why I think I have narcolepsy is I started kind of just like looking up narcolepsy, and then I saw that it's two common conditions that happen with narcolepsy are sleep paralysis and cataplexy. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I have that, because I had started developing cataplexy and sleep paralysis and I hadn't talked about it with anyone. I started getting cataplexy and I didn't understand what it was. So what cataplexy is, it's a sudden loss of muscle control. When I would laugh, I would lose control of like half of my face and my neck and my shoulders. And I remember in the early, like the first few times it happened, it really scared me. I was like, do I have like a brain tumor or something? Like, and I just didn't know how to explain it. I didn't know that that was like a loss of muscle control. I didn't know what was going on. So during that time, my cataplexy started to get a lot worse. So initially it was just in my face and a little bit like in my shoulders, but then it started to happen in like my legs and like my arms. Like if I was like holding a glass or something and I was laughing at something, like I would have to put the glass down because I could potentially drop it. And there was like moments when I would be like almost like falling to the ground. Sleep paralysis is when there's a disconnect between your brain and your body, because when you go to sleep, your body paralyzes itself so you don't act out your dreams. But then with sleep paralysis, there's a disconnect. So your body thinks it's sleeping, but then your mind is awake. And so then you wake up, but then you're paralyzed. It started to get really bad during that time, because before it was pretty mild. Like I'd only have it for like 5 to 10 seconds, and I started getting it for a minute or over a minute. And it was happening a lot because I started to fall asleep more often, like after surfing, like after lunch or whatever. Like I would just be sitting and trying to like work on my computer, and I just could not stay awake. Like it's not like, oh, like, you know, I'm feeling tired. Like it was like I like cannot stay awake. Like when I would feel this kind of like narcoleptic episode coming, like I would actually have to go and like lie down somewhere. It was like my body, I would need to like fall asleep for like 5 minutes, and then I would wake up and have sleep paralysis, and then I would be okay after. And it started to become a cycle. It started to get a lot worse after this mold exposure. My health was really bad in 2021. I was really pushing myself a lot because I was still like surfing a lot with my friends and stuff, but then I was just like having all these like health conditions like kind of on the side and kind of trying to like manage it all and live with it. And I think also because it was COVID, it wasn't like, oh, like people are going to doctors and like the hospital and stuff. Like I feel like things were kind of like in lockdown, and it's like you're trying to like not go to the clinic or go to a hospital because it was like COVID times. I think I kind of started to like normalize a lot of the things that were happening for me, because I feel like it had just been going on for so long at that point. And my two best friends I was living with, Chris and Amy, they were really good about it. Like they knew about my conditions, because when I would go into sleep paralysis, like I would have to have people like help me get out of it. So it's like because sometimes it happened when I was like sitting and like literally like my head would drop, I would fall asleep, but like it was so painful for my neck. Like I actually developed like neck issues after, because it was like my head would just fall and I'm asleep, but that's like really bad for your neck to be in that position. And then when I have sleep paralysis, I can move my hands and my feet. It's weird. And then I like sometimes like make noises, and then my friends would know that I was like having an episode, and so then they would have to like lift me up to get me out of it. And yeah, it was just like really scary. Like it just got like really, really bad, and it was all just really confusing. Like I just did not know what was going on with my body. I started taking protein powder, which was so helpful for my narcolepsy, sleep paralysis, and cataplexy. Like I think I had low protein probably. The amount that I was surfing was a lot. I think especially for my body type, because I'm more like a slender like lean body type. I think it was like actually my friend's boyfriend, Ryan, that thank you, Ryan. Like he was like, maybe you should try taking protein powder. And I was like, yeah, maybe I should. But yeah, it was like life-changing. So I started taking protein powder and that helped a lot, but I was still like, my sleep was really bad, my skin was really bad, and I was still just feeling pretty like fatigued overall. Like, so coming to Hawaii, I came here at the end of November and I've been here for a few months now, and this trip has been so amazing for me. Being here, I was like, I really want to focus on my health. Like being here, like I was having a lot of time to reflect. It's like, I really want to just focus on myself, and I really want to see a naturopath doctor here. So, because I feel like as well in Asia, like I did try to see a doctor in Bali. It was like this wellness center that does like a lot of testing, but it's so hard because I just feel like there is always like a bit of a cultural and language barrier when like dealing with doctors abroad. Like even if their English is perfect, like I feel like in Asia there just is like a really big cultural difference, and it is quite conservative. So sometimes I feel like it is difficult to talk very openly about all topics. I went to this naturopath clinic here called Steelsmith, which is so amazing. I saw Dr. Cole, and immediately like when I saw her, I was just like, oh my gosh, like we are like, it was just like same culture, same vibe. Like she talks like me. I told her like all my symptoms, and she was like, I think we should run a hormone test, and she's like, I think we should do some blood work as well. So I ended up taking this hormone test called the Dutch test. The Dutch test. It has nothing to do with the Netherlands or Dutch people. The Dutch test is this really comprehensive hormone test. Yeah, so this is the test that I'm doing. So the Dutch test is probably the most reliable hormone test. And by the way, this is not sponsored at all. Quite the opposite, actually. I'm actually paying them a lot of money to do this test, but it's with dry urine samples. So pretty much you have these little slips right here, and you like pee onto this strip right here, and then you let it dry for 24 hours, and then you mail it all in. And then they're able to test your hormones based on your urine. I think it's difficult going to Western doctors. I feel like they don't really look at the body as a whole. That's why I chose to go to a naturopathic doctor, because I just like how they look at the body and your conditions as a whole and want to get to the root of it. Like they look at lifestyle, diet, and everything, whereas I feel like with Western doctors, they don't really learn about that stuff in their education. So they're just very much like, okay, like what kind of like prescription medication can we give this person? Like it's not really about finding the root of the cause. I got my test results back, and oh my gosh, I was so shocked. So I thought that I had probably like high cortisol and high androgens because of my like hormonal acne. I was like, I think my body's like super stressed and stuff, and like I'm not sleeping, like this is not normal. But oh my gosh, it turns out that I have low cortisol, like extremely low cortisol, like below minimum. And I was really shocked about that. And my androgen level was completely normal. Like it was actually like on the lower end, but like within range. And so she was like, oh, that's interesting, because normally people have hormonal acne from high androgen. So that's good that your androgens are at a normal level. But yeah, so I had super low cortisol. My estrogen was really low too. I had low dopamine, and I also had low melatonin. She was like, this really explains why you're so tired all the time, and also why your sleep is so bad. Just like having actual data on yourself is so cool. Like I was like, wow, like there's no more like guessing games, like trying to take different supplements to figure stuff out. Like this is actual data of like what's going on in your body. So that was really cool. And if you have the money to do it, I recommend doing this test, like if you are dealing with similar issues like I am. She was saying that I have low estrogen as well, but she was saying that she thinks the culprit behind all of this is my low cortisol, low dopamine. And so I was like, oh, dopamine, is that like the happy like thing? And she was like, no, that's more serotonin. Dopamine is actually like more related to focus and concentration. And her first question was, do you have trouble concentrating? And I'm like, yes, so much trouble. I've had so much trouble focusing on just like when I need to do tasks, like work related things. Like I feel like, I don't know, it's just so hard to focus. Like I have brain fog and stuff. And she was like, yeah, this really explains a lot. I got my blood test back. She said my like liver is great, like my thyroid's great. My blood count is not normal, but I actually have thalassemia minor as well, which is something I inherited from my mom. It's a genetic condition where you have really small red blood cells. When you get blood tests, like your results are always going to be like not normal and like out of range. Something that really caught both of us off guard was that my glucose is actually quite high, almost at a pre-diabetic level, which I was just very, I'm like, wait, what? Because then she's like, do you eat a lot of sugar and candy and stuff? And I was like, no, I don't. Like I definitely eat, you know, sugar and chocolate and stuff, but not at a level that's like a, you know, in my mind, like not at like a diabetes level. Apparently having high glucose can also be a result from mold toxicity because it makes your whole gut microbiome and absorption and stuff like abnormal. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. Like, is this all from the mold? So she prescribed me a bunch of supplements and it's been 2 weeks now and I am feeling so much better. It's crazy. One thing she also prescribed me, aside from the hormone stuff, she was like, I want to give you, it's called like a berberine complex, and it's like kind of like a natural like antibiotic, antibacterial, fungal thing. And she was like, I want to like potentially clear up any bad bacteria in your gut that you got from living in Bali, because I did get sick a few times. Like that kind of happens to everyone. She also prescribed me this thing called this GI detox, which, because she was saying from the mold toxicity, like you have like mycotoxins that are like in your gut, because it can be so hard to clear the mold from your body. She's like, you need this supplement called a binder, which has like zeolite clay and charcoal and has a few other ingredients, but she was saying it like binds to mycotoxins, toxins, and heavy metals, and like just like binds to it all, and then it like comes out when you go to the bathroom. I feel so lucky to have had this time in Hawaii where I can just really focus on myself and my health. Like I've really slowed down a lot to really just focus on myself and go inwards. Like it made me realize so much. Like that's when I was like, whoa, like I need to prioritize my health. I feel like it's kind of normal, like people get into this loop where you just get so used to something that you normalize it, and then you forget that this is not normal and you can actually like feel better. Health is everything. And yeah, just being here in Hawaii, it's really made me realize a lot, and I've really just appreciated this time. I've had to slow down and just really focus on myself. And I think sometimes in life it feels like such a race, you know, where it's like, oh my gosh, like need to do all this, like I'm falling behind. It's like so much pressure and stuff. And yeah, I'm such a victim to that, of just feeling like I need to figure out my life. Like, what am I doing? Like, I don't have time to just like take time off, like, you know, like the future, like what's gonna happen, like I need, you know, it's just, you know, I've just been thinking a lot. I was like, sometimes to get ahead in life you need to slow down. I just really wanted to share my health journey with you guys, because I know on social media I haven't shared this before, and I think sometimes like I do struggle with being vulnerable, which is something that I'm trying to work on actually. I really hope that, you know, if anyone else is going through similar issues that I've experienced, that hopefully this can provide some insight and inspiration. And yeah, you're not in this alone. Like health is complicated and things happen in life, but I'm figuring it out. It's a journey, but yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you next time. Mwah.